Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers. Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, is another episode of the Modern Jeeper Show, and this is our second live show, really kind of officially, as we've done more than that. But hey, I'm here, Matson from Motocloak, and of course, Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy.
What's going on?
Wow, where are you guys at?
We are in between Phoenix and Vegas, outside of a little town called Wickenburg, Arizona.
Wickenburg. And I asked that question before, but where the heck is Wickenburg?
We're out here petting the cactus.
Yeah, there's actually Wickenburg's a pretty cool town. I used to come here years ago when Rich and Shelley were holding We Rock events. In fact, I'm not sure they do Wickenburg, Arizona anymore, but there's some really cool little rock trails around here, and we're kind of next to a highway, so apologize for the sound if it gets loud.
Yeah, not a problem. I can't hear anything, so we're good. By the way, guys, yes, you can go and join us in comments. You can. This is live, right? This is live. That means you guys can comment whether you're on social media. We have it on Modern Jeeper YouTube. We have it on Motocloak YouTube. We have it on Modern Jeeper Facebook. We have Motocloak Facebook, and we have it on Twitter, X, excuse me. You can go and just type your comments, and we'll see them and catch them and make comments about them and interact. And this is also what's cool about it, because we get to interact with you guys while we're doing the show. So it's not just about the crazy stuff we can think about. It's also the crazy stuff you can think about. So what's happened in the last week in the world of Corey and Jessy?
So we've added another about 90 CTIs to our database. We had stops on the east side of Arizona, outside of Phoenix, the east side of Phoenix, with our friend Andrew and Let's Roll Off-Road. We were out there on Saturday. Sunday, we're at Wolf Off-Road, Angie and John, and Matt's shop and his wife down at Modern Off-Road last night. We did like 34, then 30 and 22 yesterday. I mean, it's been a busy 3 days for sure.
That's awesome. Well, that's the one thing they don't do. Corey and Jessy do not stop. You guys keep going and going and going. And that's great, because that means I can stop occasionally, sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird though when we're so busy like this, and I mean it's so cool to see people when we have a CTI stop at a jobber shop and see how their business is. So we get to run into people that we don't normally see. Shout out to Steve at Nacho and Jeremy Clanton is now with Rockford Fosgate, so it was cool to see him over at Andrew's shop. And
cool. Yeah, so wait. We now have a new speaker company. Because we had Kicker for so long, right? Kicker was just like it, and then when the late great
Mr. Herb Kane,
Herb Kane, yep. When when he passed and went to Pearly Gates, but now we have Rockford Fosgate. That's pretty good company.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Jeremy
company.
Clanton out there. He used to actually work for Rockford and then has now gone back. It's kind of fun to hang out and see everybody, but it's also weird for us because
it's nice.
Well, and it's so warm.
It's supposed to be 80 today.
It's supposed to be 80 degrees today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's chilly for me right now, but that sun's hitting pretty good.
Yeah. You got it right on you guys too. You're like right into the sun.
Yeah. Right into the, and it's a pretty clear day, but it's weird though when we're doing these CTI stops, we're kind of out of the loop as far as what else is going on in the world. So we don't really catch up with like the Jeep industry so much, and other than talking what's going on right now locally, but that's about it. So
yeah. Well, I do got to say that last time we were talking, we talked about, I saw this idea or this shirt from some company being sold that said Death Wobble Survivor. Well, our friends over at Twisted 4x4 were so excited about that they sent it over. Here it is.
Yep, we saw
Death Wobble Survivor. That's nice. Cool. Team Twisted sent me the shirt. Appreciate it, you guys. And I also got a nice, cool Twisted 4x4 beanie.
Cool.
Nice. And of course, Twisted 4x4 deck. So, so thank you very much. Appreciate the gifts. Got to get it.
He might burn up.
He might
doesn't
burn it.
need
Well,
to
you know,
burn
he's
up.
got to protect his forehead because
Well,
we don't want to do that
Hopefully,
again.
put a sunblock on today, or he's going to be in trouble.
Sunblock. Jeez. Yeah. Well, you know, the chemicals that are in sunblock sometimes is worse than the sun.
Well, you got to get the expensive
Now
stuff.
you got to get the expensive zinc, you know, the
Yes.
all natural stuff that
Yeah.
actually looks like crap on you, but at least it doesn't, because the chemicals in that stuff, nasty. So looking into those chemicals, nasty.
Yeah.
What do we got going on over here in our chat? We've got Ben Benavides. Ben.
Ben, saw him over at Andrews.
Yeah, had a blast getting the Gladiator on the CTI trailer. Awesome.
Good looking Gladiator, little bobbed bed on his Jeep, and yeah, he definitely.
Does he have the Motobuilt
the
Bob?
Motobuilt? Yep.
Nice.
Oh, it's been shared a lot.
Oh yeah.
Him on the
Cool.
CTI trailer has been shared quite a bit. So
Cool.
Good looking rig.
And Jeep Eye Joe Nathan, he goes, I delivered a kicker most of the time. Do I need to talk with him? I'll need to come back to kicker again and maybe head up Cedar Canyon and Glencoe and do something wheeling. Yeah, that was one of my very first CTI stops. That first year I did the tour, we actually stopped at Kicker and did it at Kicker with Herb's Club. And then the truck did fine there, and then it proceeded to break down.
Right.
It was down for 4 days. That was fun. But yeah, appreciate you guys. So yeah, so how was the two different events? How was Andrews versus? Okay, let's make this a little bit of competition. Who had more people, Andrew or Wolf?
No. So here's a little secret. There's already a ton of drama down here with these local clubs, these local shops. Talking to all of them, you know, they all try to play well together, but there's also a lot of competition between them. You know, I'm not going to say one way or the other that you know, who does what. They all have a great following. They all have very unique locations, and they're very spread out, really. I mean, Andrew's on the very, very east side of the area out in Mesa, and whereas Wolf is kind of more on the west side, and Modern's kind of in the central location, and there's still some shops out here that are doing very well. Venture Off-Road, of course, is one of our jobbers. We didn't get a chance to stop by their shop, but maybe in the next, you know, who knows what next year looks like. But they all had a decent turnout. Everybody, really good people. I mean, everybody came out to actually learn a little bit and see their rigs flex and kind of find out where their issues really are, which that's the name of the game.
That's true. And and how many of those? What's your ratio when you do these versus Metal Cloak customers? Well, I guess when you go to a job shop like Andrew, most of his customers are getting Metal Cloak anyway, right? So
right.
For
the most part. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I'd say we probably run about 75% of our stuff at these events typically.
But we're talking about Arizona wheeling, though.
Yeah. I mean,
there's some big stuff out here.
There's some big stuff, some sharp rocks, that kind of thing. And, you know, I mean, even as far as when we go across country, even at a regular event like Easter Jeep Safari or something like that, I remember 10 years ago when it was like, yeah, cool. We saw, you know, 3 or 4 of our lifts out there. And now it's definitely more, you know, 7 out of 10 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know, I do want to say something that we need to make sure we acknowledge today. You get this, we're live right now, but this is actually going to go out. The podcast itself won't go until Thursday morning. So you guys all get to watch this live 2 days early when we're doing this. So I do want to make sure that those that are listening to the podcast, that we do acknowledge that this is Thursday, December 7th. And it's something we never, ever want to forget, because it's so easy to have generations go on. And we forget Thursday, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy, and the beginning of World War II, and so many Americans of what I consider to be the greatest generation, right? Many of us will think that's the greatest generation we've ever had. This generation that went off into World War II, came back and built a country, right? So just take a moment to say, you know, thank you to all those. Very few of them are still around. Very few Pearl Harbor survivors are still around. I think last count, it was only a few that are still Pearl Harbor survivors that are still around. World War II generation. So make sure that we take a time to thank a vet. I don't care. You know, this is not a Veterans Day thing. This is simply a time to thank a vet for being there. And if you happen to have a member of your family, share the story with us, because it is important. It is important. So I had to mark this off my list because otherwise we'll forget it.
That's right.
Calendar. Here's the cover of this year's calendar. I say it's a color because it's not printed yet. That's the cover, though. That's what it looks like so far. That's calendars coming out. It should be by the end of the month. We should be shipping them. So, and which means probably in this week, they will go live on the site for purchase. We will also be giving away calendars, of course, because we usually do. We'll find a way to do some giveaways within this month for calendars if people want to have calendars and little things like that. We also are going to have a nice game that's going to be coming out here if I can find it. In the past, we've given away these the ornaments. We've given away these ornaments in the past, right? Yeah. And sometimes we've had hundreds of these. I mean, literally give away hundreds of them just randomly into boxes. I've got 7 left. 7. So, and we decided we're not making more of them because it's just the amount of time to pop all these things out and stuff.
Right.
I know.
I'd rather make parts for customers that are waiting for parts rather than just more ornaments. So we have 7 of these. So next week, when we do the show, we're going to announce what the game is going to be, but we're going to have 7 of these that are going to go into 7 random boxes. And those who find them and get back to us with them get some incredible stuff. So just a little bookkeeping there. All right. So cool. Where are you heading to next?
So actually, we've got to stop up at American Off-Road. We're going to go see our friend Jonathan up in Las Vegas, and probably not going to do a CTI stop this week. But we're going to swing through there. We had kind of tried to plan to go out and see our friends at Rugged Radios, but it just doesn't work out timing-wise. So we've got coming up to Metal Cloak the beginning of the week. We're actually going to spend a day or 2 in Vegas as my birthday present gets taken care of. Jesse actually got tickets for us to see U2 at the Sphere.
Oh my gosh! Wow, how long are they playing there? Are they just going in and out? Because they've
extended it, so now I think it's through January, February, something
until the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super Bowl's out there this year. That's going to be a madhouse.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That Sphere is just this multi-billion-dollar, amazing, weird, crazy thing.
Yeah, if folks haven't seen it, you got to go. They have their own Fans of the Sphere on Facebook page. It's pretty incredible. I mean, the inside of it is basically, think about an IMAX on steroids, because it is all around you
on crack, steroids, all the things.
And to think about, they built the thing. They not only built it to be an entertainment inside, which was expensive enough, right?
Yeah.
But then somebody had the idea, well, hey, we can make the outside cool too. Yeah, and and you have this. Everybody's seen the golf shot, right, where it's the guy's hitting the golf ball and the Sphere is watching the ball go up and down, right?
Just or the airplane.
The airplanes following airplanes. It's just
the F1 cars were driving by and the little guy was watching them.
It's totally cool. And to think that they had the thought that they could do the outside, because there's some ball thing in Reno, right? And it's just for I think it's for the bowling alley, right? But it's just a ball. Right? Nobody had this thought, like, we're going to spend billions to have not only all this stuff on the inside, but then all this stuff on the outside, which means all this stuff on the outside has to be cleaned and taken care of. I mean, there must be some sort of cleaning system on this to just kind of keep the dust and dirt off. I mean, it's pretty incredible. How big is that? I mean, how many stories tall is this? Do you know?
Oh, stories wise, I don't know. Yeah. I think it holds 30,000+ people. So I mean, it's a big stadium inside.
It's like an arena. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it also has a lot of AI robots that will interact with you. They have hologram stuff. They have all kinds of new tech coming out, kind of like we saw at the CES show.
Wow. Yeah, I heard like sometimes when they're doing whatever, you might see something go through. Like they could actually have almost a play inside, interactive action happening, not just what you see in the screens.
Right. And well, of course, this one isn't a full Sphere because, of course, it has a flat bottom floor. But I guess now Dubai is building a complete Sphere.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I don't know. What do you have, a glass floor in the middle of it or something? I don't know.
That'd be like Cerebo, you know. Yeah, just okay.
Right.
I got a little geeky. Hey, you know, I did forget that when we hit the button, we can actually see your guys' comments and share them with our friends.
Oh, there
Is
we
the
go.
CTI results database publicly available? Almost. So we
Almost.
had the database available for years, and then the original database was lost, and literally like hundreds of hours of input, and that was with photos and everything. That database was lost. And so since then, we've been gathering the information up on spreadsheets. And so we have this massive spreadsheet available. Now, what's happening right now is we're finally getting back to building a CTI website where the data is available for you to look up. And combined with that is the tech to be able to make it more seamless when you're actually next year doing the CTIs. We're hoping to be able to have all the input on a pad or on your phone, as opposed to having to handwrite it all on paper. And so that allows the data to go in, it goes into the system, adds it right away. So we're working on all of that. It's something that we've been wanting to do for a while, but just wasn't prioritized. So once we have that, that'll be back up and running. You'll be able to see the 10,000 CTIs that we have and be able to search by, you know, hey, I want to see what a medical lift on a Jeep with 37s gets on average, and you'll see all the ones of that, or with a Rubicon Express lift, or a rock crawler, any of the other lifts that we've tracked over the years. And it's all based on the information that we were given. So if the attendee says, I don't know what lift I had, well, that information becomes useless. So it just goes into a side, you know.
And it goes both ways, guys. So remember, when we have you fill out that information and you're as specific as you possibly can be, a lot of guys will say, well, it's a metal cloak lift. Well, a metal cloak lift consists of more than just our springs.
Or shocks.
So if you have our springs and then you have somebody else's control arms, somebody else's shocks, that isn't really our 3.5-inch kit. Nope. So again, it's hard to, a lot of guys get
do a lot of correcting.
Yeah, we kind of have to read between the lines and go, okay, what do you have? And we have that conversation every time we start the trailer these days. I have a little powwow with the drivers, and we talk a little bit about that system of components. So people always say, well, how come your signs say that, you know, I should get 900 and I got 780? Well, because you've got certain pieces parts, or you've got some other limiting factors going on, and that is always an issue, whether it's a full width stock fender flare, or if it's bump stops, bigger tires, all of that stuff plays into the equation. So
that's right. It's all, remember, we talked before about systems, right? We like to build systems. Jerry H says, morning. Morning, Jerry. Yes, it is morning, and I'm still trying to get my mind working. My cleverness factor hasn't come into play.
We're playing in between time zones again, so of course we come down to Arizona, and Arizona doesn't play the
back and forth, which is probably the best idea ever, because it's been 6 o'clock before it gets dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you come to Arizona, you got to go. Now we're same time as Colorado, but then 30 minutes from now will be the same time as California, and it's tough.
All right, I gotta go. This is from Ben. Can Corey Jessy confirm that a Gladiator back east laid down a 1300 on the trailer?
That is correct, and that was Hatch's. That was Hatch's Gladiator, and there's been a lot, or a Hutch, sorry. There's been a whole lot of talk about that and what he was aired down to, and how did that happen, and you know what, guys, you can max out the trailer, take your shocks off, you can max out the trailer all day long.
What is the point of that?
But what's the point? So again, different vehicles are all going to perform differently. The exact same kit on two different vehicles will probably get different scores. It's really a matter of all the small things that we talk about when we're going through stuff on the CTI trailer. It's all the little, it can be something as simple as a bolt hitting the rear from the sway bar. There's more pressure involved. Tire pressure is a huge thing. Width of the tire can be a huge thing. Like all of these things. So, yep. And guess what? I've had about 25 rigs max the trailer out.
But they're buggies.
But most of the time they're not full-bodied rigs. And you probably wouldn't want to drive any of them on the road because it'd be like driving a Slinky.
Yep, back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, it really has. They've come a long way. I mean, technology's definitely come a long way. But I remember, used to try to take those old buggies and race them out on the racetrack, and they were just like Slinkies, and they had no support, right? The idea that what they build today, and there was a point in time where it was even hard for a buggy to max out the CTI trailer. But technology changes, technology grows. The new CTI trailer we're working on, which is still probably will not be ready for next season, is promising to have taller lifts. So with the idea that we can go a little bit taller, it's time. World has changed, so let's go a little bit taller, do a little bit more flex, and see if we can let them. That it just kind of pushes the industry along a little bit more. They can do better. They can do better.
That's right. Guys get really caught up in that number. That number isn't a number that judges how capable your rig is off-road or what trails it can do. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. Yeah. We talk about a system of components. My LJ scores 1160. My Gladiator scores just over 1,000. Yeah, my Gladiator gets over 1,000, and that's on 38s with all our metal cloak suspension with 6-pack shocks. So again, it's not so much about what that number is. It's more about as a tool to see what kind of clearance and issues you're having and making sure those parts are all working together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, all right, we got Drew Shively says he is installing gears in my Gladiator this weekend. Wish me luck. Yes.
Yeah, good luck. Hopefully,
gears are not something I would do myself. Thankfully, I know some people that are really good at it. Not something I would do myself.
Well, with all the problems with the JL and JT, switching gears out it's like a crapshoot sometimes.
We're hearing lots and lots of fun stories with gear swaps. So,
and then Mark O'Neill says, when is Rubicon Trail typically open? Would like to do it in 2024. It all depends on the snow, my friend. It all depends on the snow. So last year we were still snowing there, April, May, right?
July.
And technically it's open year round. Technically it is never closed. Just whether or not, because it is a county road, it's not a trail. It cannot be closed unless there's a major reasons. In fact, they tried closing it this last year, and that was a big brouhaha because they're not supposed to close it. So technically, when it's loaded up with snow, you can go wheel it. Should you? Probably not.
Probably not.
And are you going to break? Probably so.
Yeah, something's going to happen. And so there are guys that will do it all the time, but they're the guys that go do the Rubicon like every weekend. I mean, they're locals. Yep. And so when they go out in the snow, they know where they're going. They know exactly what they're doing. So it really just comes into, when is the time. Now, I will say that once the snow melts away and Jeepers Jamboree happens, for a lot of people, it's the perfect time right after Jeepers Jamboree because the trail has gone through a bunch of repairs for Jeepers Jamboree. And Jeepers Jamboree, Jeep Jamboree, and then you have a chance to go out and do the trail. It's really nice that time of the year. Otherwise, like I said, it's open year round. You just go do it whenever you want. You go do it right now if you want to. So
a good rule of thumb is always that third week of June, but you also have to remember that during those times when it opens, it's an extremely busy, heavily used trail. So you want to, there's always groups. You can usually check out Friends of the Rubicon pages and see what groups are scheduled to be out there when. Lots of clubs go out there. We get the same thing in Colorado asked all the time. Well, when's Black Bear going to be open? Well, it didn't open last year at all. So again, and then everybody says, well, that's not right. They can't do that. Well, I'm not sure who you're thinking they are. But it turns out that the Forest Service and the BLM, and that's a whole nother conversation we can get into about what they do for management. But those trails just they close them up, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, yep, and they can do that. So difference between the Rubicon being a county road and trails being under the management of the Forest Service, they can close and open whatever they want. Tim McNulty has a Gladiator with a game changer lift on a Sport, but his question is, how many bump pads should be installed running 35s? Okay, so the right question is, what shocks are you running? What kind of, ultimately, this is why we do the CTI as well, right? And you can do it yourself. You can flex things out. I mean, the reality is that you're constantly testing. If you have Rock Sport shocks, you need to have more bump stops than if you have 6-pack shocks, or if you have another brand of shocks. So please just give the shop a call at 916-631-8071. The guys here are happy to help with your build, happy to help how you're doing stuff, and that we can get some more. So you do have Rock Sports. So generally we say about 3 inches on Rock Sports.
Just depends on what you want.
Yeah.
If you don't want the tire touching your fenders, then you want more bump.
In this case, with the Rock Sports, you just kind of keep the Rock Sports from being totally collapsed, right?
Bump stop.
Right.
Right.
Also, do you have stock jounces, or do you have Duro springs? If you have Duro springs, they add an extra inch, so then you have less bumps. So it all depends on how your system works together. And the cool thing about the way we built the bump stops is that you can pull them in or out. It doesn't you don't have to tear things apart, right? So you can put 3 on there, go drive it around and go, wow, I'm hitting hard. Well, maybe that's okay. So maybe you need to go down to 2 and put 2 in there. And so you can easily take them in and out. So probably with Rock Sports, I'd start with 3 and then go from there.
Good stuff. I mean, remember, folks, the purpose for the bump stop is so that you're not using your shocks as the bump stop, or tearing up a fender or an inner fender well, things like that. So
Jeff Stark says, "What's up, bud?"
Hey, I know that name.
So we talked a little bit about the Overland Rocklander kits last week. You brought those up. And they're actually on the site for both JL and JT. And I went to our engineers and said, okay, so what does this actually mean? Like, what does it actually mean that we have these Rocklander kits? How much more weight can somebody actually carry? Corey's shaking his head going, no.
Guys, a suspension lift does not change how much weight your rig can carry. That has nothing to do with how much weight your rig can hold. Just because it sits level and you have 10,000 pounds in the bed of your rig, that's not how this works. Your rig is limited by its weight rating from the factory. The lift has no place in that number.
That's true. Now, with the rating of the coils, though, because one of the things that we did with the Overland kits is go, okay, so we talked about this, right? So with the change in the coil rates, it means that you can have a more level rig when you have more put in onto it, right? With it loaded up. So if you overload it, it goes to a certain point. But if you load it up, so basically what the new Overland kits are allowing for is about 400 pounds more than you would usually carry on a JL, and about 600 pounds more than you would usually carry on a JT. So if you are JT and you have your setup with all your different things, it's about 600 pounds more stuff on it for camping. That's what it's going to allow. So that's and the guys, purpose. I
would recommend you go to the dump, go to a scale, go somewhere that you can get your vehicle weighed. I think the Gladiator is like 7,450. That's it. 7,450 pounds. If you're more than that, that vehicle is overloaded, overweight. Again, you're playing a little bit of roulette there, because all of a sudden brake ratings, your stopping distances are greatly increased. The frame, the rear end, all of those things, bearings inside the wheels, like all of that stuff is going to get.
So what does your Gladiator weigh? What is yours?
I use it when we're fully loaded, like when we go to Tillamook, that's 7,400 pounds.
Yep.
We'll
so
push it right there.
What is the stock one without? What is the stock one? Like, what's a stock Gladiator?
I think that the cargo capacity is only around 750 or something like that.
Well, they promoted the cargo capacity at 1,600, but if you put 1,600 pounds in that, it's stink bugs. But that's what they promoted when they came out with the Gladiator, and you can put 1,600 pounds on it, but it goes all the way down. But that's supposedly what you're supposed to put into that bed.
Yeah, because stock, there's no way that my Gladiator weighs 5,800 pounds. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
I think stock with nothing. I mean, because of aftermarket skid plates, a rack, a tent, all of that kind of stuff, as it sits static with nothing really in it as far as gear goes, I guarantee you, I'm probably 6,400 pounds right there.
Yeah. So, but again, the point of the Overlander kits was to be able to allow you to have a more level system designed to work with you when you have camping gear, especially. And then again, these are designed for the guy who has camping gear all the time, right? Like I do, like you do, where we don't just take it off. We're going out and loading it up and taking it off. So if you have a JL and you load up your kids and everything for camping on a trip, you don't want an overlander kit. If you have a JL where you're constantly running a tent or other equipment, and you have other stuff in the back, or like some of our friends where they don't have kids, the entire back of the JLs, loaded up with plywood and other different parts and different things and baskets and all kinds of fun stuff to make be able to live out of the thing. Then you want to look at something like an overlander kit.
That's right. So on my Gladiator, fully loaded, 7,400 pounds with our kit, that thing sits perfectly level. And the nice thing about it is when it's empty, when I take all my gear, my fridge and stuff out of there, it doesn't come up, 2 inches. It's not like our springs are like giant slinky things. It actually only sits about maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch higher maximum with everything out of it. So I know the guys go, well, I have airbags. I can carry as much as I want. Nope. Sorry.
Break axles if you get stuck.
Sorry, it's not how this works.
Airbags and but airbags are really not good for flexing anyway. I like, these air suspensions are fine, but that's something that gets in the way. It literally gets in the way.
And it doesn't change how much that vehicle can tow or carry or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we all just need Cybertrucks now. Cybertrucks that can beat a Porsche 911 while towing a Porsche 911.
So I saw an image of a Cybertruck with a slide-in camper that somebody has already made for him.
Yeah. Little sliding camper system. Yeah. And there's the others that are actually designing it, like to take the back of the Cybertruck and lift it up. I mean, there's just, although it's funny, I did see an image comparison of the Cybertruck with a camper system on it that looks a lot like the Aztek with a camper system on it. Remember the Aztek?
Yep.
Yes, the Pontiac Aztek. That seemed like a cool concept at the time, but it was just a badly built car.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that a Pontiac? It was Pontiac, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pontiac Aztek. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, that's cool, man. Like, that was, but
the ultimate car camping rig, right?
Right. But yeah, my favorite Cybertruck commercial is the one with the robots, where the what do they call them? What's Oculus? I think it's not Oculus. That's it.
That's
what do they call it? It's
Optimus.
Optimus is the name.
Yeah.
Optimus is the name of his robots. So the 3 robots come out. One's driving the Cybertruck and the other one's shooting it with a Tommy gun. I mean, I don't know. The guys it must be fun to do marketing for Tesla and for Cybertruck and for SpaceX, because they're given free reign to just have fun.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, they have a lot of more money than we do. But let's see.
Hey, where's those black shocks?
I don't know what you're talking about. Will Dunham says squeaky track bar and a TJ fix.
Squeaky track bar.
Well, so whose track bar do you have? Is it stock? If it's stock, you probably just need to get another one. But
does it have lines on it?
Yeah. Can it? What is it? Whose do you have? You don't have ours yet because ours isn't yet released.
And you know what? WD-40 fixes it. All squeaks.
That's true. Maybe temporary, but it does fix. All right. And then we have Jeep by Joe Nathan says, I wish there was a system that shows how it affects the tow rating numbers. You mean the weight? That would be interesting. So, but different Gladiators have different tow ratings as well, because it's not just out of the box.
That's right.
You have,
yeah.
Right.
Sport to Rubicon, they have different.
Yeah, Sport to Rubicon. Usually the Rubicon's a little bit heavier, so the actual carrying capacity is different. It's just like a 1500 versus a 2500 truck and all of that. So
and then you could get there's many sports that had the towing package on it. When I was first getting my Gladiator, I had a choice between a sport with a towing package or the Rubicon, right? And then you also have the Mojave. Is Mojave better rated for towing than a Rubicon? Do we know?
I don't know that.
I mean, remember?
I know that you can probably spend a good week going down rabbit holes. Just Google max tow, and it's a big deal out there in the Gladiator world. So
yeah.
Sure. Bruce Gary says, is the rod end on the driver's side of a drive link the left-hand thread? Not sure if I strip locked nut or ended, but I need to replace. Just a lazy question. So the rod end on the driver's side of the drag link, the left-hand thread, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to put my hand on it, and I mean, it might be.
Yeah, I mean, you never really have to twist it either. You just, the whole point is to twist the tie rod.
Right. One
So
end is opposite than the other.
Yeah.
So
if you're twisting the
if
tie
the other
rod,
one is right hand, then that one will be left hand.
and if you're twisting the tie rod, and if it's fine, but you need to replace. But just give us a call. If we can always send you another nut, and not a big deal, and make sure that it's all good and taken care of. So just give us a call, 916-631-8071.
The nuts typically have left-hand threaded nut will have little marks in the nut itself to justify that that's a left-hand thread versus a right-hand thread. Something to take a look at.
Yeah. Ben Benavides says, sounds like that might be a good setup for a motorbuilt bobbed bed rig, as that bed is around 500 pounds on its own. Yeah, additional weight. I know they didn't. Did they make that? Is that bed out of aluminum or steel?
I think Ben should answer that. I tell you what, it's a clean install, and it's all very modular. So each of those little panels, literally, he said he did it in his driveway, and it was a pretty slick little setup. He doesn't want to do the overlanding thing. He wants to do the crawler thing, and I think that's a good looking bed for the Gladiator for sure.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a great looking product. Ben says, yeah, they have both options.
Gotcha. 500 pounds. That seems kind of heavy but he has a rack that's going to go in the back and give him some additional storage, because it really does make the bed just, it's really short. So
yeah. Medical Look long arm rear track bar WD-40. Got it.
Yeah, and if it's giving you grief, of course, if the end is messed up or anything like that, please reach out to us.
Absolutely. Mike, when are the Medical Look bypass shocks going to be available? Okay, so first off, they're not bypass shocks. Let's be clear on that. They're reservoir shocks. But yeah, Medical Look, we are a long ways away from getting to the bypass technology, getting bypass shocks. But the reservoir shocks are super, super close. In fact, like we said before, we had some orders that we fulfilled. We were trying to solve one particular tech issue. I think we talked about it last week. And because we just want to make sure that is totally exactly the way we want it before we start shipping. We have been told, and this is where I'm talking with my production guy, and our engineering and production engineering, that we are like shipping in January. That's what I've been told. But we keep running into little barriers because here's the thing. Unlike a company might say, we designed a good product, let's just move forward with it. We go, oh, wait, what about this? Oh, wait, what about this? Oh, wait, what about this? I mean, we've already made changes to just the selector, right? Made the selector bigger, easier to hold. Changed it, threw away all the ones we had already machined and changed it because we wanted it to be better. We had, oh, wait, we could do this. So we're making little rev changes before we go into full production on it. And once we are in full production, we'll probably still make rev changes because we'll get feedback from you guys and out there. But they have been running. They have been out there. We've got them on our rigs. We've been playing with them. And the feedback so far has been incredible. So those that do have them have been telling us that they love them. Now it's just a matter of getting it into the production point where we're going, okay, good. We know we can start production, and we know that we consistently make them every single day so that we don't have any like, oh, well, we sold 10. Okay, now we're out. 10 sets are gone. Now we got to wait another month. We want to be able to be consistent. So there's a lot of work to do that. Make sure we have the machinery, everything to be able to make those. Because again, we're making these in-house, guys. We're not just getting a boatload of them over and then we go, oh, cool. Now we have a boatload to sell. It's make them in-house, keep the production going. Working on it, get him the JT, getting the JK, getting the TJ, getting the boom, 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 boom out. So it is a process. And at this point, I am hoping that we can be a great Christmas present for everybody to be able to go live with them before Christmas.
Yeah, I think that I think a lot of folks and even us, we are such a different kind of company, and we've talked about this for many, many years. We're at the end of the day, Medical Look's a manufacturer. The fact that we're as seen and as available, and people can actually call the office and we make these changes. I mean, from a manufacturing perspective, how rare is that? You don't call up Curry or Dynatrack and go, hey, can we change this to add this little thing like that? Just we don't do that. And the feedback that we get from doing the CTI tour and going to a lot of events and seeing what's out there and what's working and what's not working and how we can modify things to work better. I mean, I think that's pretty rare, and it's one of the reasons that we enjoy doing what we do so much. So
absolutely, and that's the fun part about it. By the way, again, thanks again for this twisted 4x4 beanie. So that's nice. It's a nice beanie. I'm gonna have to steal this and make a Metal Click version. It's nice and warm. Yes, Ben, I already shared it with everybody, but Ben said, yeah, it's 3/16 thick side. Like it's basically armor, so it's heavy. It is heavy. And Mike Gostin said he saw a set on a 2023 Red 392 the other day, parked at Lowe's. I wonder who that was. Where was that? And then Giovanni Contreras says, Metal Cloak, fire. Yes.
Nice.
Hi, Giovanni. Appreciate you joining us. Okay, so man, Christmas is here. Like Christmas time.
Pretty
Guys,
much.
if you go to our website and click on the on the homepage, you'll see that there's a list of products that are just great little Christmas presents. And by the way, even though we're shipping everything pretty darn quickly, if you do order something big, like you want to give somebody a suspension system and it may not get to you by Christmas, it might. I mean, we're shipping stuff every single day. You can always say, hey, I really want it for Christmas. And then we might just throw a t-shirt in there and send you the t-shirt right away so that you can have that under the tree, right? So we always want to make sure you have something to give for Christmas, whether it's for yourself, for your rig, for your loved one, because we all need to buy somebody a suspension system for their Christmas present.
It's really weird for us to think about December when it's going to be 80 degrees in Phoenix today. It's so odd. And it is warm for them right now. They were talking about it this morning. And actually in Vegas, it's only supposed to be like 69. So it's just an Arizona thing, but
that's weird. Well, we had a California International Marathon on Sunday, which usually it rains and it's cold, and it was a beautiful, it rained on Saturday and it was beautiful. I mean, it was probably the best CIM I've ever seen. I mean, I ran a leg. I ran 6 miles of the CIM once, and it was rain. It was cold. I did the first leg. I started out. I had like a trash bag on me, right? I sucked at it. It was terrible. I did not, it's one thing to run in the, it's nice, I'm running in the sun. And then nobody practices, right? Didn't practice in the cold and the rain and trying to keep the body warm, and it's all locking up. And so, but it was beautiful. So the weather out here has been great.
Well, I know that we had some snow back home, which of course Colorado needs it. I think it's all pretty much gone now looking at the cameras. So, but I know that the mountain passes were getting hit pretty hard. So yeah, if you're traveling and you're trying to get somewhere, be careful out there, because I'm sure that storm is headed east.
Yep.
Yes, east. Okay, so we have what other news has been in? Like, what's the big thing in the news lately besides the 4xe recall?
Yeah, the 4xe thing keeps coming up, and people are still talking about that. And the fact that don't park near a building, and don't recharge your Jeep before you get it in for the recall. I think that's an interesting.
A bunch of 4xe up front and center by the road out here in Phoenix, a lot of them. So trying to get them, they said they're putting monthly payments and how much down, and they're trying to push them out the door. So
wow. Well, it turns out the Renegade is dead.
Oh,
do that.
Interesting.
So the Fiat 500 and the Jeep Renegade, which I think were kind of built on the same platform, aren't they?
Pretty much
sharing the same chassis.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are dead. Says that Jeep cuts Renegade from lineup in U.S. and Canada.
Yep.
For 2024, which I thought the Renegade was kind of a cute rig. I mean, it was cute. It was, I don't know why they'd cut it, because it's good. Probably was good and fuel efficient, but they don't want it. So,
isn't it? I mean, you think about it and the Compass. They were, both of those were kind of like, you're not getting a 2-speed transfer case out of either of those. So
right. They're already talking about doing a facelift on the Ford Bronco. Guys, I'm just looking up Google News to talk about. So
just talk, it'll come.
Yeah, that's
All you have to do is say it out loud, and it will pop up for you.
That's right. That's right. That's it. Following us.
The Bronco thing. I mean, it's interesting talking to shops. There's definitely the loyal Jeep owners out there they still don't want to. They don't want to have anything to do with the Broncos, and then there's the shops that are kind of embracing it. But the shops that we've talked to that know what the Bronco is, they're not modifying them to go off road. They're modifying them to be more unique and customize them to what the folks want to do, whether it's going to the mall or going across country or whatever. The whole heavy off-road use, I don't know. I mean, don't know how far that's going to get before you start going, well, let's go to a solid axle, and now we have something we can go wheel. I don't know.
Yeah, the guys that have them, and we know lots of Jeep owners who bought the Bronco, and whether it's a case of the I bought something, therefore I have to mentally reinforce it, or that it's actually effective, they enjoy doing it. They enjoy going out there. Now, I will say, like driving our own Bronco, one of the things I like about the Jeep is I like the narrow hood. I like being able to see my tires, right?
Yep.
We were talking about, somebody wanted to create a camera system that showed, because they have that 360 degree camera, right? But you can't really see the tires. But imagine a camera system where you can actually see where your tire was at when you're trying to put it over that rock, instead of hanging your head out way out here over something, and trying to see it. You just can't see, but it's just a personal preference thing. Like I know guys that wheel, like they like, that's fine. They wheel rigs like that and they're okay with it. I like to see my tires. I like to know where they're sitting. I like to, know where I'm placing them. And it happens to be with the Bronco, you get more flex if you go with a narrower, like a tire that comes in. You don't suck it in. You don't put a short little back spacing and shove it out. You actually have a bigger back spacing so that it sits in. You get a better operational flex out of it than if you shove it out and then it hits into the fenders. So you don't get the chance to have the big tire, the meat sitting out there and looking at it. It's just harder to do. But
we did have a Rivian on the trailer.
You did?
Yeah, the SUV Rivian.
Ah.
Steve over at Nacho brought one out, and it's kind of a unique thing. It's got an airbag suspension on them from the factory that you can actually raise them up and down a few inches. It had street tires on it, as it should have, and it didn't. I think it scored like 4 something.
It's the same as the Bronco.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy, but the fact that it was kind of cool to have it on the trailer. I tell you what, if we could figure out the under skid plate system on these electric vehicles, of course there's nothing under there. It's basically a flat piece of UHM. Well, this one is just plastic, but it is literally flat. There is nothing hanging down under these electric vehicles. And of course, then you get better gas mileage too. It's more aerodynamic. So
Sure. Airflow. Hey, Angie Wolf says, good morning, friends. Keep your snow. We shovel sunshine here.
That's right.
There you go.
Of course, that's Angie Wolf with Wolf Off-Road.
Yep.
And Ben says, Renegade is dead, but the grill lives on with the new Wrangler and Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I agree with that statement. I don't like it much.
Yeah, he's right.
Hey, it's Tim Boyd. Merry Christmas to all of you and your families. Hey, Tim.
Tim.
Yeah, it's been a long time. How you doing, buddy? Yeah. I like doing this live thing just because when we can't think of anything to say, we have other people saying stuff for us.
Well, and usually when we stop for a day, we get some time and can accumulate some news and what's going on in the world, but we're kind of on the fly today, so
yeah. Well, that's the thing, that's why I've got the Google here. I'm supposed to Google things or chat GPT them or whatever the hell the world is about now these days. There we go. Rustlin says, God bless Metal Cloak. Rustlin is one of our guys here in the team.
Nice.
Hey, Russ, how you doing, buddy? We actually had a Metal Cloak rowing team. That because there was a rowathon that a gym that I'm a part of did. It's part of a fundraiser for a group called AIM, and AIM is one of these incredible organizations that rescues people from human trafficking, and specifically sex trafficking. They have their own SWAT team, and they literally go in and they go into places like I think spend a lot of time in Cambodia, and going in and rescuing girls. I mean, girls, not women, but girls from these sex, trafficking locations and stuff. It's pretty incredible. But we did this big rowathon, and there was a Metal Cloak team, and they came in the top 5. I mean, it was pretty awesome. They did an awesome job. I think they were somewhere. They were like, I think they were second or third in overall numbers. It was pretty incredible. They did a great job.
Very cool.
Oh, Alejandro. I love Metal Cloak. It's the best. Hey, Alejandro, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I love Metal Cloak. Yeah, this is just. See, I'm just gonna hang out here while people say I love Metal Cloak. It just gives me a big smile on my face.
So warm and fuzzy.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. So Christmas is here, guys. Again, take advantage of the Christmas sales, or not Christmas sales, but the sales of items that are specific for Christmas, meaning that there are great Christmas presents out there that you can get that will ship immediately. And if you have something, if it is a Christmas present, if you order anything right now and it's a Christmas present, make sure to let the team know, right? We will do our best to make sure it gets out there. If you want to try to have it under the tree in time for the tree, let us know. Okay.
Well, and there's an awful lot of ways to be helping support charities, and there's a lot of toy drives out there, and all of that stuff is.
Yes.
I think we're getting dusted by an Air Force jet. So again, go ring a bell for Salvation Army.
Yes.
Donate your time. Do organize a trash pickup for Tread Lightly. There's a lot of things this time of year. You can use that time as a family and do some things together, and I think it'll go a long way. I mean, we're going to try to participate in some toy drive type stuff, and your local Chamber of Commerce, your local Salvation Army, all of those things have ways for you to help, and this is that time of year. So.
Which reminds me, thanks for mentioning it. It reminds me, we're doing one here on the 16th.
Cool.
So are you guys, now when do you guys leave?
Probably right before that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not sure. I don't know.
So we have our Christmas party on the 14th. On the 16th, we're doing a combination with NorCal Rock Racing and 916 Jeeps and Coffee. Or Cars and Coffee, excuse me, Cars and Coffee. So we're meeting about it, but it was basically they wanted to do a toy drive. We said, here, use our parking lot. So we're going to come on out here, big toy drive, get it all promoted out. You guys drop off toys. We'll get the toys delivered. I'm not sure which group we're going to do for. Most likely, I want to do toys for tots because, it's always cool to give things to Marine Corps guys and have them come pick it up in their uniforms. I mean, that just makes you feel badass. So yeah. Definitely the 16th, everybody mark it on your calendar. It's going to be from 9 to noon right here at Metal Cloak on Saturday, the 16th.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, I know you guys got to get back on the road. We appreciate everybody for joining us. Raul, hey, Raul, how you doing, buddy? Raul says, I love working here. Well, I appreciate that. And then benefits of long arm versus mid-arm suspension, on-road drivability and off-road performance. Well, guess what? If you go to the Metal Cloak website and you click on the blog link, I wrote a brief little synopsis about long arm versus short arm, and take a look at that. And I'm going to add more to it because I really want to go down that. To some degree, it is a matter of personal preference. All right. Totally. I prefer short arm over long arm for a number of reasons, but if you are into high speed, especially on like a JL or a JT at high speed, and you want to do high speed desert stuff, then a full long arm is probably what you want to do because you have that rear long arm works better in that high speed. If you're just going for rock crawling, like our short arm, our mid arm kits have as much flex in most cases than a long arm. And even then doing our hybrid system where it's the long arm front and the DB3 rear is highly functional. And it does. So it really depends on what you want to do. If you really kind of want to be the cool guy with the long arm kit, that's fine. But it's 25 hours of labor to install because you're cutting off brackets. You're doing all kinds. Even though it's a bolt-on kit, it's still about 25 hours of labor to have a shop do it or do it yourself. So it really just becomes. I prefer mid arm because it does all the performance that I need. And
we must be watching the same discussions going on social media because
yes,
this has come up recently, and there's a whole bunch of talk about everybody. I mean, back in the day, I remember when the TJ was that was what you had, was the TJ, and the long arm made such a huge difference. Well, that was because the angle of those control arms on a short arm lift, if you went very tall, if you got bigger than 4 inches, those control arms are almost straight up and down. So what happens with vibration is that goes straight into the frame when that tire hits a rock or anything else. And over the years, we all kind of had it in our brains, and we've got accustomed to long arms better, but it's definitely not always the case. And it just kind of depends on what you want to do. I mean, the reason that we developed the DB3 bracket was because literally with a mid-arm kit and a lot of horsepower, you could hit the gas in the red JK and that thing would change lanes. And literally that stability came from changing those rear control arms to drop them down to the geometry of a long arm system. That thing would track perfectly square. So again, it just kind of depends on what you're doing. Everybody says, well, those DB3 brackets, they hang up. Well, guess what, guys? It's the long arm is going to hit the rock as well. So it's the same angle. But again, it just kind of depends on what you want. I will say that 9 times out of 10, a long arm system is going to be more comfortable on the road just because the angles are less severe. But yeah, 6 in one hand, half dozen the other. Depends on what you're doing with your Jeep.
Depends on what you're doing in your Jeep and how you like things. I mean, and comfort is relative, right? I don't like long arms on a TJ because it feels too floaty to me. I don't like the floatiness. Right. I like feeling the road. I like having the kart racer. I want to be close to the ground and feel everything on the road. So I like that, where it's just, so it's a personal preference. Right. But so it has to do with performance, what you're trying to do with it, what you want to do. Now, I will sell long arms to guys every day, but we do talk people out of long arms. We talk people out of 6-packs when it's not something they need.
Right.
And so we want to go down the path of what you really want. I really want to kind of emphasize this. One of the things Corey and Jesse do when they're out on the road, and we do here at Metal Cloak, is we want to help you with your build. Right. And then we're not just here to help you with Metal Cloak products. Like, if you have questions about your build, you're trying to understand what tire size you should run. You're not trying to understand what wheels you should do. Should you do bead locks or not do bead locks? If you're trying to understand anything about your build and you really want to help try to have what your long-term plan is, talk to Corey and Jesse when they're out there. Give us a call here at Metal Cloak. Send us a message. Send us an email. We're here to help you with your build, right? We've been doing this for years now. And it's not just a Metal Cloak product, right? And yes, Metal Cloak has a lot of products over a bunch of different categories. But we are here to help you do the best possible build that you can do based on our experience and what you're trying to achieve. And then you have your plan out. And then over the next year, you're building that plan or whatever you're planning on doing. Will Dunham says, did you keep the 50s diner in the building? We did. We turned it into our break room. It became our break room. It's a little bit different than it was when it was set up. So it's not really a diner anymore, but it has that same look. And we kind of cleaned it up, got rid of the bar, and put things back in. But yeah, we kept that whole look in. You got trucks coming in?
Yes, we do.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, guys, we appreciate all of you for joining us on this another live episode. And of course, the cool thing about this is this now goes straight out to the world. So the podcast won't go live until Thursday morning, but all the rest of you who are on the video watching this get to see this show now. So appreciate you joining us. We'll do it again next week. I know that last week I had said I would do it Wednesday. I can't do it tomorrow, so we did it today. Next week, I think we can do it on Wednesday. And you guys will be in-house. So we're going to try to figure that one out, how we can do the whole thing video-wise. Maybe we'll have to do it. Maybe we'll have to do it upstairs in the
green room.
In the green room. Yep. But anyway. All right. Well, look forward to seeing you guys next week. For all of our modern Jeepers, love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.
Now I'm going to see if I can do this thing that I wanted to do, which I didn't have set up. So now we will do it now. Ciao.
Ciao. Oh, he's got the outro on there. You were watching it playing live there.
Just in case.
Yeah.
But again, with